Okay, so hey YouTube, I'm gonna attempt to make this video for like the 50th time. Alright, so I'm just gonna dive right into it and do my disclaimer first, and then I'll go into it, excuse me. So, this is not everybody's experience in the military. This is just my personal experience, and I might add a couple of situations that happened to some of my female friends in the military who are basically quieted and afraid to speak out um, about their experience in the military. So, with my experience in the military for females, I felt like if I could ever give a female advice, if you join with a battle buddy. Don't go by yourself. Make sure that you have a female with you all the time, and somebody who is when you join and sign the paper that they join with you. You go to the same exact duty station, and you pretty much follow each other throughout your career in the military. If you do a whole 20 years and you finish and you don't have to experience some of these situations that I'm coming up with, then fine and dandy. You know, give me your story, and then I'll let you know that, my experience. So my experience with the military is you come in with little to no rank. Um, you have little to no say so. And not only that, you pretty much treat it like you're less than a human. So when I went into the military, I felt like, okay, this is a good experience. I'm going to serve my country, and also I could take advantage of the benefits that are offered to me. But I wasn't told up front that you could actually get a bonus for joining. I was given the lowest paying job, and I wasn't offered a bonus when I first signed up. So I was out there pretty much blowing in the wind with no help. Okay, so from there, when I joined, I did do ROTC in high school, but I didn't know that it was a predominantly male environment, and that a lot of the males didn't like females, and if they did, they were perverts. So you kind of did not have any space in the military. Nobody had your back, nothing, unless you had a higher ranking female, and they may or may not have your back, and they may or may not support you or listen to the ideas that you might have, that somebody is pretty much coming against you or making you feel uncomfortable. So when I went in, I looked around and I, figured out, okay, this is a predominantly male environment. It never dawned on me I need to find a way to protect myself. Because at a young age, you always feel safe. You always feel invincible. You always feel like nothing can ever happen to you. Nothing can ever go wrong. You're pretty much invincible. I think that's why they, allow young people to join the military, because you feel invincible. You feel like you can do anything, and you don't have no knowledge of the world and how you can get hurt easily with that naive sort of thinking. So when you join as a teenager, like say 18, 19, okay, you are pretty much out there to the wind, because they say, oh, you're an adult, you can make any decision on your own, and that is pretty much not the case. You may be 18 or 19, but if you have a 42-year-old male putting you in a predator position where they have a higher rank than you and you have a lower rank, you feel like you have to do what they say because they're a higher rank, and then they take advantage of you. Okay, when you go to speak out about it, okay, first of all, nobody's going to believe you because that person has a higher rank than you. Second of all, there is no system where the person who is being preyed on is protected. They actually, in the military, protect the predator more than they actually protect the person who's preyed on. So they don't tell anybody else in the unit, and they don't move that predator out of the unit, and they do not provide a good system where the person who is being victimized can feel safe and feel like they can speak out about it. So it wasn't until I got a higher rank that I found out that we had an EO process, equal opportunity. And then when I did find out we had equal opportunity officer, no ma'am. When I did find out we had equal opportunity officer, it was a male officer. So it's like, okay, imagine if you've been taken advantage of by a higher ranking individual, and you have an EO officer to go to and talk about it and confide in, and it's a male, do you feel safe coming to another male about another male who has taken advantage of you? No, I'm gonna tell you right now. If you've been raped or if you've been sodomized, if you have been taken advantage of anything like that to that nature, you're not gonna want to talk to another male. But in the military, you have no other way of help. So if you speak out to somebody about being hurt in the military, you are going to be the victim who is actually being victimized by the system who says that they're going to help you. So when I went to speak out about somebody who took advantage of me in the military, I remember that person being promoted, and they said, "Oh, we're going to put this person on trial." They waited until the situation had blown over for a whole year, and then they put the person on trial. And then I was moved, I guess, somewhere away. But it took them a long time for that process. It took almost a whole year. So imagine being around a person who has taken advantage of you or raped you or whatever the case may be, for almost 5 to 6 months, almost even to a year, and nothing happening. And the only thing you can do is cry and pretty much suck it up. So I want females to think about before you join, the things that you're going to be up against. Okay. Sometimes there's nowhere for you to shower. Okay. Even though this military has been modernized, they try to make it seem like, okay, you might get in a war situation where you won't have water. Okay. But still, war has been modernized. You should have those showers available. Okay. And they should be clean. Shouldn't been dirty and something like it's thrown together. Okay. Or using barracks that's been around for millions of years. The government has enough money to make new barracks. The government has enough money to make showers. The government has enough money to provide clean uniforms. And they say, oh, well, you get a clothing voucher once a year. Okay, how often do you think that these clothes are going to get dirty, weathered, and torn? Once a year? Okay, you have to be realistic. So when you join the military, these are the things that you're going to be up against. Okay, the uncleanly environment, male soldiers preying on you all the time, 24/7. Even if you're in the barracks, okay, the most of the barracks are co-ed, which means there's male and females. So you have to watch your back everywhere you go, every step that you go. Once you join the unit and you come into your new unit, you may be one out of 50 female soldiers, or you might be one out of 10 female soldiers. So that means a ratio of 1 female to 50 males, or 1 female to 10 males. So when they break it down into different small groups, I remember being in a unit where there was only 4 females. So we had 4 squads, 1 female for each squad, and the rest were males. Okay? So if you're in a different squad and the rest are males, the other females are broken up in different squads. So that means you were by yourself at some point in time with a whole bunch of males. And so they say, oh, to keep it even, we'll put 1 female for each squad. So the females are broken up and they're kind of put in a situation where they can't help other females. So these are the things that I want you to think about before you join the military. I'm not saying that it's like that now, but I'm just speaking about when I was in the military. Well, that's pretty much all that I wanted to say. I'm probably going to have to make another video to pretty much break down everything that happened to me throughout the military, because it was a very traumatic experience. And I remember when I got out, it was kind of like I didn't get any help to transition. It's pretty much find your own way out in the civilian world. It's maybe survival of the fittest. You have to find out information on your own, and none of the stuff is given to you, which is it'll be given to a male soldier because they have their own like cliques against the females. Like it's hard to explain, but you really have to be there to experience it. And then I just don't want females to go through that. honestly, I don't think females should join the military because a lot of males are gonna make you feel uncomfortable, a lot, and you're gonna have to deal with it on a constant daily basis. They're gonna make you feel, bad for being weaker than them. You can't do enough push-ups, and they can do like a million, and you can only do two or three. You shouldn't be so weak, and you're like, okay, it's in my nature to be weak. Excuse me. Some females that are bulkier or bigger or have more muscles, and they may not like males, that they like females. They might be a little bit stronger and able to do a little bit more than just the average female who's just like, you know, heterosexual, I guess you would say. I hate to bring up different titles and names, just to explain my point. But you're going to have to go through a lot as a female, and I don't recommend females to join the military. Um, Even though I was in, I just really see the injustice that was done to a lot of females. And every time they tried to speak out about it, they would just lose rank and lose money to keep them quiet. So it's like, okay, do I speak out against the injustice or do I lose money? And it's like, of course, you want your paycheck. So you end up letting these things that are not right happen. Okay, I remember being punished for speaking out against a soldier who was preying on another female soldier. And then they started, you know, turning their anger towards me. And I was like, oh, well, all this time I had been such a good soldier. This female soldier can do, 50 push-ups, and she can run a mile under 6 minutes, or, 7 or 6 minutes or whatever. So my 2 mile was just incredible in the beginning. So after a while, my 2 mile went down. And my morale went down because I saw so much things that was done wrong to the females. I just said, you know what? I don't think I'll be able to survive in this type of environment. It was very cruel and unjust. I remember when I got out and I got back from Iraq, I wasn't told that you can get compensated from, going through, mental dysfunction and, body dysfunction and things like that of that nature. And so when I went to the VA system to try to get money to compensate me for the things that I went through while I was in the military, I pretty much had to show proof that somebody took advantage of me, proof that it was in writing, proof that I went through the stuff that I went through as far as being overseas in Iraq. And I felt like, okay, so on one hand, I had a female friend who didn't have to prove anything, and she come out with 70%. Me, on the other hand, I was, basically made to look like a liar, that everything that I said was wrong and things of that nature. So, I have a couple of things under my record that I'm still trying to fight for, but I, never received proper compensation. And they say, oh, well, you should have got a lawyer, or you should have addressed it before you got out. And I was like, well, I didn't know that I had these opportunities available to me. I was never told about these systems that I could go through, to get help, before I get out and before I start feeling like, okay, the military pretty much, allowed me to get out without any help and without any guidance or any kind of like transformation, I guess you would say, or like a way to convert to the civilian world, convert back. So I didn't see many avenues to convert back, and I was treated very badly when I left the military. It's kind of like we didn't want you to leave, but since you're gonna leave, we're not gonna help you with anything. Bye. So if you would have did your 20 years, then we would have helped you. So all right, so that's all I have to say for now. I will make another video and maybe a couple of other videos to go more in depth about my experience in the military. All right, well, y'all take care. Bye bye.